Alright, let's talk about bearded dragon, parasites, and poo, and temperature, and all of that good stuff while we look at Naaman, and we're going to look at Rose. This is kind of an in-conclusion theater, however, this is by no means all-encompassing of the world of parasites for reptiles. But I've learned some really good things, really helpful things. I had some videos about flukes and coccidia, pinworms, lots of things. And for a brief time, Naaman did have coccidia. And thanks to a friend of mine who runs a reptile rescue, I learned how to do fecals on my own, which is pretty important. And I did catch coccidia. But I caught a lot of other things. And thanks to my vet who's in touch with the herpetologist at the University of Oklahoma, she's been so helpful and so patient and, open to looking at the pictures I sent from my microscope and, working with me to try to track down this issue with the flukes and with everything else. I did treat for pinworms. I treated for coccidia a few times, and she doesn't want me to look at her. Here's the thing. I took a sample to the vet. I said, okay, you guys look with your good microscope and your expertise and tell me what I'm seeing here, because the flukes kept showing up. And it just so happened that when I took that sample to the vet, Naaman hadn't had bugs for a few days. Only vegetables, only greens, and so I took that sample to the vet and they came back and said, it was all clear, we didn't see anything at all. No coccidia, no pinworms, no flukes. And the vet, it was a few days before she got back to me, which is fine with me. I'd rather her take her time and, be able to get a good answer when she has that time, rather than just, sending something back, well, they're all fine, easy peasy. No, she does research, and I really greatly appreciate that. The flukes were a mystery, and I gave the meds, and then I saw flukes again after all of that. And I took them a sample, they saw no flukes, and she said, I'd done some research on where bearded dragons can get flukes and what can carry the flukes, and she said, dubia roaches carry flukes, or they can. Not all of them, but they can. She said the flukes you were seeing were probably just passing through. And she asked if I had seen any fluke eggs, which I think I had, but when I do a fecal after Naaman has not had bugs for a few days, I see nothing. So it is possible for parasites to just be passing through. So if I do fecals in the future, I'm going to do a fecal after a few days of only greens and just see what might have been passing through with those bugs, because the bugs are going to have them inside, right? And I thought, maybe the first vet that had Naaman, they were trying to find food small enough for her. And I thought, well, that makes sense if they tried to get things out of the yard. I always like the mystery of what caused this. Where did it start? Where did it come from? How can we avoid it, right? Now, you can't avoid it completely by only feeding greens and vegetables. Now, if you're going to cut up vegetables and only feed them the insides, okay, there's probably no parasites there. But, coccidia comes from mostly birds, and birds poop on the ground, and even maybe in a hothouse, when they go grow greens in there, there might not be as much on the greens, but that's why we wash the greens. But that's not going to get everything. And here's the thing. Dragons poop watery poo when they have eaten lush, plump greens, because that's a lot of water for them. And it's good to realize, okay, is this a parasite problem? Is the temperature wrong in their tank? Is it too hot? And they're just, getting rid of water when they don't need to, because if they're too hot, they're going to have diarrhea. And we learned that when I tried to stack the tanks, and Murray's tank was on top and his was too hot. But they're usually just passing water through. Now, if you've got a sick dragon, you got to have several symptoms at the same time, and you need to be in touch with your vet. But I know a lot of people have dragons that they're not near a vet, not near a good, exotics vet to learn from, and that's why I do these videos. I'm not giving you information from Google or Facebook. I'm giving you information from experts. So let's see, what was the other topic? See, okay, I saw flukes in Rose, and I had given Rose some of the dubious, and a lot of fecals after that, no flukes. I thought, well, what's going on? Why are the flukes gone in Rose but not in Naaman? And it's because I kept feeding Naaman the dubious, because Naaman is not a year old yet. She needs bugs. So, hi, sweetie. Hey, pretty girl. She's so pretty. She's basking right now. She had a lot of greens. So in the post that I did before this video, I showed some meds. Those are just examples of some meds at the co-op near me, because I raise chickens, and at the co-op you can get antibiotics, you can get all kinds of meds for animals, and it's the same thing, different dosage. Okay, for the dragons, they're smaller. But here's one example. Safeguard. Fenbendazole. See that right there? Let's see, let's get under some light. Fenbendazole, right there. That's the same thing in Panicure that they give for bearded dragons. Now, 10% right here. You can look up the dosage online on how much to give your dragons and when. It's usually once a week for 3 or 4 weeks, and then that's a good thing to do before brumation. You don't have to do a fecal, but you can try to clear out what's there. Now, the one thing about that is if you do this, and they also have coccidia, the coccidia is going to flourish. So if you can get a fecal to a vet just to rule out coccidia, you can do this kind of thing, or you can buy Panicure from them, and do that before brumation. That's really a good thing to do. But you can get this on Amazon, and I got it at the feed store down the road. I live in a rural place, but that doesn't mean you can't get good stuff. This is what I gave the last few times to treat the coccidia. And this was on beardeddragon.co, just co, not com. They have a lot of good things, a lot of good little products for dragons. And they have other meds as well, but you don't want to give meds if they don't have the problem. I was giving meds when there was no problem, but Safeguard, I think it's called that because it's fairly safe to give. Never had a problem with that, not many side effects at all. So that's what I've learned, and I've done a video about how to do a fecal if you want to, but my advice now that I've gone through all this is, coccidia is probably going to show up either way if they've got that, but give greens for a few days. Let them poop, give greens, let them poop again, do a fecal on that. Now that I know, hey baby, now that I know, I'm going to be doing fecals that way, which is good. I did a whole lot of fecals. I learned a lot of good stuff. I got Murray treated for some things, and I got Rose treated for, she didn't have a lot of stuff going on. But before the slow time in the winter, it's a good thing to do. Or if you don't do a fecal, you know how to treat. So, hello Rose. Just a little update on Rose. You're so pretty. You are so beautiful. Yellow Rose. You want to see how I have to feed her? She's so ridiculous. Of course, it's the slow season, right? But I've totally spoiled her since she was spayed. I have to wash my hands before I do this. If you do this, wash your hands. You're not gonna eat? She just ate a bunch. That's probably why she doesn't want... Rose. You close your eyes at me? She's done. You know, she eats a bunch. She even got the hiccups once. I've got a I've got a video of that. Anyway, if you got questions, please leave a comment. And if you think any of my videos could help somebody out who's got a dragon, please share, because I do try to give good information, and I'm gonna create a playlist this weekend of uploading this video called Educational. And, you know, whenever I'm researching something, I do a number of videos before I get to the conclusion. So it's going to be the in conclusion theater videos that are in that playlist. And hopefully way more to the point. And sometimes it does take over 10 minutes to explain something. But if you've got questions, please feel free to comment and ask. And please like the video and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Good night, Rose.